Nothing can be solved by restraining yourself. Understand? Then I'll gladly lend you my strength.
Carmen, the persona of Aunt Kamaki in Persona 5, is a fictional character created by the French romantic novelist Prosper Mérimée in 1830. Carmen herself was written as a classic femme fatale figure, defined as an attractive and seductive woman who generally causes the downfall of those she charms. In the novella, Carmen is a thief who charms a Spanish dragoon into turning a blind eye to her crimes. As the story progresses, he joins her in her criminal activities, however eventually kills her, as he grows extremely jealous of her charming other men in order to accomplish her goals. The novella of Carmen was initially one of Mérimée's least popular works, overshadowed by a similar novella, Columbia, in which a woman charms a man into killing her father's murderer. Carmen, however, became much more popular following the death of Mérimée in 1875, where it was adapted into an opera by Georges Bizet. Although the story of Carmen is fictional, she is based upon tales and gossip told to Mérimée by his friend, the Countess of Montijo, as well as, in part, the Countess herself. Maria Manuela Kirkpatrick, the Countess of Montijo, told Mérimée a rumour she had heard during one of his visits to Spain. She told him the tale of a woman who had been murdered by her ex-lover, after finding out that she had begun a relationship with a matador. Mérimée flashed out this tale, however changed a few details. Firstly, he inserted himself into the story, telling the story from the perspective of him travelling around Spain. In the story, he both meets Carmen and is robbed by her. She steals his watch whilst telling him his fortune. Secondly, Mérimée wrote Carmen as a Romanian gypsy. The woman in the story told to him by Manuela was actually a Spaniard originating from Malaga. Mérimée made this change as he was studying gypsies at the time, as his day job was a historian and art preservationist. Gypsies were also a hot topic of romantic literature at that time in Europe, Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame being written around the same time. Mérimée also heard rumours that Manuela herself was an adulterer and had multiple lovers, so included this element in Carmen characters also. In the story itself, Mérimée meets José Navarro alongside Carmen, a criminal associate of hers, as well as her protector and enforcer. A few months after meeting them both, he hears that Navarro is in prison and is set to be put to death. Mérimée visits Navarro in prison, interviewing him about his life and the events that led to his imprisonment. Navarro tells Mérimée that his real name is José okay, let's see if we can get this right, Lizarra Bangoa, and that he moved to Seville where the story is mostly set, and changed his name to Navarro after he went on the run because he murdered a man during a game of squash. Yeah, that's really how it goes. Oh, God, right. So, José moves to Seville, changes his surname to Navarro, and joins the military police as a dragoon. During an assignment guarding a cigar factory, he meets Carmen, who works there and is a keen cigar smoker. He becomes infatuated with her, to the extent of willfully ignoring crimes that she commits under his watch, such as smuggling, theft, and assault, including one incident where she carved X's into another worker's face. Yeesh. José is court-martialed after his superiors find out that he's been turning a blind eye to Carmen. After he serves his sentence, Carmen rewards José with sexual favours. José and Carmen then fall in love. José continues to ignore Carmen's crimes and eventually becomes an accomplice in them. Carmen even convinces him to kill for her on a few occasions. Eventually, José is found out, so he and Carmen go on the run together. Carmen becomes a fortune teller, and José aids her in stealing from patrons, Mérimée being one of them. José, however, grew increasingly jealous as Carmen flirted with and used her charms to steal from patrons. He also found out that she was married, so José then goes on to murder her husband. Understandably, Carmen isn't best pleased about this and leaves José for another man, a matador named Lucas. José, incensed with jealousy and anger, begs Carmen to return to him. She declines, stating that she wishes to be a free spirit. José threatens to kill her. She submits though, him that she knew that he would kill her, as she saw this in one of her fortune-telling sessions. Carmen goes on to state that she would rather die than be with someone against her own will, and famously states, "Carmen will always be free." Jose then kills her and turns himself in, which brings us back to Merime meeting him in prison, and this is where the story ends. Carmen's nature of wishing to be a free spirit, both generally and sexually, is archetypical of the French Roma. In demonstration of her free nature, Carmen wears loud red and black dresses and carries roses in modern adaptations of the novella, including the opera and a film adaptation in 2003. Her free nature and loud dress sense are clearly reflected in her Persona counterpart. Her persona is also seen as dominating over two men. The men are clearly incensed with her, obviously shown by the helmets that they wear. It's not entirely clear who these two men are. Presumably one of them is Jose, however the other one could be her husband or Lucas the Matador. My interpretation is that the one she stood on is her husband. He is subservient to her, and the other man is blocked from his view. In the story, Carmen's husband was ignorant of her taking Jose as a lover. The one on the right, I believe, is Jose. He is literally and perhaps figuratively closer to Carmen, although Carmen keeps him at arm's length. He's been swung around and dragged around by her, perhaps symbolising that he is along for the ride with Carmen in her criminal activities, and he himself is never in control. Persona Carmen wears the mask of a black panther. People who wear cat-like masks are depicted as desirable due to their rarity. This is because, where the masquerade masks originated, Vienna, cats were desired above other pets as they were rare following a then recent wartime period. Carmen's panther mask obviously parallels Anne Kamaki's Phantom Thief costume, panther even being her codename. Furthermore, Anne reflects the panther mask's theme of rare beauty, as in-game, and is desired due to being of mixed Scandinavian, American, and Japanese descent. Anne's Phantom Thief costume also reflects the loud and provocative dress sense of Carmen, both in-game and the other adaptations. Fans of Persona 5 and some video game writers have argued that Anne's costume, fighting stance, and persona seem incongruous to her character in-game. In-game, Anne is coerced into providing Kamoshida with sexual favours, and quite rightly, she is distressed by this. Additionally, Anne appears uncomfortable when propositioned by Yusuke for a naked portrait. With this said though, Anne still appears to show confidence in her body and sexuality. This is reflected by her dress sense in-game, and she also appears unfazed about being a model. Some have therefore argued that Anne is comfortable with her sexualization only when it is on her terms. Anne therefore appears to embody the traditional meaning of the Lover's Arcana, whilst more recently the Arcana has simply come to represent romanticism in general. The original meaning of it was choice, specifically having the ability to make choices and decisions based on one's own heart, regardless of other outside influences. With this in mind, Carmen appears a suitable persona for Anne, both women championing the pursuit of their own desires. After all, Carmen will always be free.
I can't tell you how to see me. Just a cage of bones. There's nothing inside. Will it always